Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr. You're you. We are minting coins. And this is the age of Web3. This is the age of blockchain, of immutability, of censorship resistance. But these words don't mean everything that we think they mean. They are an idea, they are a feeling, they are a vision of what's to come. And we are building that vision. And things change all the time. Different things happen where it opens up our eyes to new opportunities or new risks, new strengths or new weaknesses. And the whole way, there's builders who are building, and there are observers, and there are participants, and we are listening to them. And some of them, we are them. And so we're going to talk about what's happening with Coinbase Wallet. We're going to be talking about some words of wisdom and some insights from Gary V in Miami. And doing that, we have some guests to join us. We have 184 in the room. Hey, 184, how you doing?
Hey, Gary, I'm doing good. I took some time today to do no Web3 stuff for the last 2 hours. And I had a chat to my wife. I was thinking about my nana, my grandmother, and I'm refreshed. I'm here. I'm having a good time. How are you?
I'm very good. And thanks for showing up. I mean, you're just like in all of these rooms, participating, adding a lot of value. And it's just really great to see you on Twitter, and just to hear your voice out there. We also have Novax.eth, N0VAX.eth. What is up, our friend?
Hey, Gary, thanks again. As always, wonderful to be here. I saw we had some great guests lined up for this evening, so I'm very excited. You guys could find me on Twitter. N0VAXNFT is my handle on Twitter. It's where I spend most of my time on Twitter Spaces. And recently I've been working on this 100K cat with all the art for the 100K collection that we're doing, this very innovative subdomain avatar thing, the 100,000 supply. So I'm kind of racking my brain and testing the limits of Google Docs and everything else, and talking with the artist who's in Thailand, running through the airport, trying to finish up the very last traits. It's going well, and I'm really excited about where it's going, and I'm already looking forward to what's next. So it's great to be here to talk with builders and get ideas for what we can do in the future, because this is the building time, Gary. This is the building season right now.
It absolutely is. I'm glad to hear about that building. I can't wait to see those spreadsheets that you got, because I know you're going to be throwing in the none variable. So when people are searching in the metadata, they're going to be able to search options by none, which I'm a big fan of in the search box, in the OpenSea search box. And there's a lot of things that I'm interested in doing and talking about. And before we get started, like this video, subscribe to Minting Coins, whatever you're watching. If you're watching this on Twitter, or twitter.com/minting coins, or youtube.com/minting coins, or facebook.com/minting coins, or Twitch, minting coins, or Rumble minting coins. We are Minting Coins. And you can find more about us at mintingcoins.com. Become a member, support the show. For 50 cents a day, you can become a member of Minting Coins and get access to our members only video, members only content, and support us in Web3, and get in our inner circle, and get access to some of the information that we're talking about in our forums. So so I don't know, how is your day? You guys want to chit chat before we jump into the news, or what should we do? Should we have like a weather report, or or a check-in? Anything notable today? I mean, I guess I'll start it off. Just in terms of things that happened today, there was the ENS lab spaces with Jeff Lau, and learned a little bit about Jeff, learned a little bit about his history at ENS and ENS Labs, and formerly True Names Limited, and then also learned a little bit about the name wrapper that's up and coming. And so that's exciting to get a little bit of information from the core team there. What about you guys? What was big for you today?
Yo, I haven't had any updates today. I've been kind of out of the loop. I was pulling an all-nighter working on this stuff, so I'm totally fresh canvas here to learn about any updates, Gary. And it looks like Kev just joined us as well, so I'm sure the host of ENS Update Show. Who better?
Yeah. Hey, Kev, 5159.eth. Kev for King. Welcome to Minting Coins. Thanks for having some time and jumping on the show. How you doing? It sounds like he's working on his audio. Just jump in whenever you got that fixed. 5159, and we'll let you know when we hear you. What about you, 184?
So I chimed in for that call today, and I thought it was incredible. I think Siddharth and Zadok are doing an amazing job. And hearing about Jeff, everything you said bang on was great. I also jumped into the ENS public goods call, which was about an hour and a half later. That was interesting, and anyone can jump in on that call. But as I sort of said before, I'm going to take this a different angle. I took some time off. I am feeling burnt out. There is so much going on in Web3. There is so much going on in ENS that I decided I'm watching the football tonight. And then after that, I'm watching The Crown because it reminds me of my grandma, reminds me of my nana. It's their generation from long ago. And I feel so refreshed. So this is me saying, everybody, if you're feeling a little bit exhausted, take some time away, come back, you'll be better for it. Yeah.
Check.
Yep, I heard a check.
All right, you guys. Man, I was trying to get my microphone to work, but it's not working. But we're all good. I'm in the building. I'm in the house. Happy to be here, man.
Thank you for having some time. Thanks for showing up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kev for King, 5159.eth, host of the daily ENS update show, 11 a.m. Eastern. But why don't you, give a introduction, who you are and what you do.
Yes, sir. 5159, Kev for King, host of the daily ENS update show, also head of marketing and partner for ZZC Group, which is pretty much an ENS asset management firm where we're going to be doing live auctions and building on some really cool ENS names as well. I pretty much do ENS and Web3 full time at this point in my life, and that's what I do.
Yeah, there is that new gig you got. Do they have a website yet? ZZC Group?
Not yet. Still in the very, very early stages of like still assembling the team at this point. We just added a new partner as well just announced on the Twitter pages. So slowly but surely, everything's coming together. And I'm also just getting caught up to everything that was happening before I joined as well.
Sounds like there's a lot to catch up on.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure at some point we'll hear more about that, and we'll absolutely be talking about that on this show. Joining us too is Gwayman. Hey, Gwayman, what's up? 6912.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? How you doing over there, Kev? I think the first time I've seen you on the show, bro. Nice to have you.
Yes, sir. Gotta be here, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, so I have an agreement with my wife, so I got about an hour flat, and then I'm gonna take off a little bit before the show ends. But I'm here.
And then you're gonna come back for the late show?
Allegedly.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Very cool. So excited for the name wrapper, and we'll see when that comes out. Don't know when that's going to come out. We're going to see when that comes out. But we have to think about time horizons, because even when the name wrapper does come out, the name wrapper, there's going to be a lot of people that just jump right in and make a lot of mistakes with the name wrapper contract. There's going to be a lot of people doing a lot of experimentation. There's a lot of people that are going to be doing, a lot of things, a lot of building in the bear market for, the first couple of years with the name wrapper. Different people have different time horizons, right? Some people have a 2 or 3 year time horizon, if not 2 or 3 month time horizon. And other people have a 20 or 30-year time horizon. When you're thinking about these PFP projects, like the Bored Apes or World of Women, when you're thinking about ENS or even Ethereum, right? Think about that. The saying where we overestimate the short term and we underestimate the long term. Like we overestimate 2 years from now and we underestimate 10 years from now. Well, what does that make you think about 20 or 30 years from now? And that gets us to this first article talking about Gary V, and Gary V talking about the crypto winter and surviving the state of Web3. Let me know if you ever guys want me to zoom in too. So let me know if you ever got any feedback for the zoom in or the mic or whatever. But yeah, so Gary V's out there doing a lot of things. Like we were talking about Tim Draper in Miami, Gary V's in Miami. I think like almost everybody except us are in Miami, Art Basel. But yeah, maybe next year we'll see. But yesterday we were listening to Draper, and Draper was saying how people should in Web3 and Bitcoin or wherever keep your head down and keep building. Keep working, right? Just put your head down and keep working was the message from Tim Draper. And there's probably going to be a recession coming was the message from Tim Draper. And we were talking about, how some people have information and that information gets disseminated. And so here we have Gary V, and his tone was serious, affecting a sincere concern for the plight of Web3 and people building. Because similar to the Draper saying that we're in this economic correction. And he says here, we get out of it the same way the internet got out of it, because there's horrible crashes in like the 1999 and 2000, the .com and Y2K. From 2001 to 2004, a lot of websites like Friendster became the previews to the Reddits and the Instagrams of today. And in the next 36 months, there's going to be people building meaningful things, cool things that add value, things that get used, instead of just, fighting for fast cash. So I know he says it in here somewhere. Let me see, talking about success is slow, and talking about how a lot of people are going to leave Web3. Not because they don't believe in it, but because they have to be humble and they have to just, like Tim Draper said, they got to put their heads down and they just have to keep building. Because basically Gary Vee is predicting this rough patch. But he's also saying that he's saying explicitly the next 36 months, people are going to be building meaningful things. So it's like it's this balance between hey, there's going to be this economic correction, and the people who are here building are going to be building like really, really awesome things. So I don't know. It's like a lot of I guess my question is, like, I wonder how many people hear this message and how many people ignore this message and don't want to live humble. How many people hear this message and want to live humble? This is the question. How many people hear this message and want to live humble? And how many people hear this message and they believe in Web3, but they don't want to stick around and be humble and deal with it? What do you think, Kev? Like sticking around and dealing with it every day on ENS domains, ENS updates. Like what do you think about the looming recession with the promise of great success for the people who build value?
Yeah. That's a really good. I love the fact that he compared Friendsters to the preview of what we have today in the modern era. But the way I feel about it, I talked about this a little bit on the morning show, is that two things. One, the time has to pass regardless. So whether people decide to step away and walk out, 20 years is going to pass the same amount of time it takes 20 years to pass, right? So it's up to us who are actively involved in the community now to say, yeah, we're talking about it every day. Yeah, we're here every day. Now it's kind of time for us to be the builders of it today as well. Like nobody's coming, I say this all the time also, nobody's coming to save the community. Nobody's coming to come out of nowhere and then pump all our bags in Web3, and especially with ENS right now, right? So I think it's up to the builders, aka us, the ones who are doing the show right now. We're still here. We're still sticking around even during this quote unquote bear market to kind of create the future that we foresee and that we kind of have envisioned. So the bear market is inevitable, but at the same time, time has to pass regardless. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and he's giving a very specific dates in this article. He's talking about what, I mean, think about, if I read between the lines, basically everything we have right now, everything we already have, except for the grails, is the Friendsters of this era. And he's saying very explicitly over the next 36 months of like looming, bear market, people are going to be building great things. 36 months. And then he's giving really specific dates. He's saying when all the dust settles in 22 years, you're going to forget about a lot of names. And so 22 years, what is that? 2045, let's say? It's like a pretty specific date. So he's talking 2045, like looking back and seeing the state. I guess that's 30 years of Web3, right? 2045 is practically 30 years of Web3.
It's a long bear market.
36 months?
22 years.
Yeah, no, 36 months would be the bear market time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he's saying up here, how far do I got to scroll? He's saying
3 years. That makes sense.
We're in an economic correction, and then he's saying here from 2021 to 2024, so that's 36 months. And then he's saying here in the next 36 months of this correction that we're in, because economic corrections take time. You know what I mean? It's not like when you hear about the recession, it's like a couple of years of numbers going up and numbers going down and people losing their jobs, and then things in the economy change without getting into it, but then jobs come back and people start getting jobs again. And a lot of these issues have to do with the money supply in the first place. Yeah, but geez, 36 months, where would that put us? 3 years. So 2023, 2024, 2025. I guess if I think about it, 2020, 2025 is, it's 1 year after the halving. So 2024 is the Bitcoin halving. If we think that has an effect on, what do you guys think? Do you think the Bitcoin halving is going to have an effect? I'll tell you right up front. I still do.
I do too.
Anybody else? 184. You're a trader. Do you think the Bitcoin halving, like a year after the supply shock, has an effect?
No doubt. Psychologically, I don't think it has much of an effect on downward pressure, but psychologically, yes. I think we see that play out again and again. But as most predict, I'm the same view, which is Ethereum will lead. Ethereum will be the better play, but Bitcoin is still a good play.
Well, Bitcoin serves like a very small percentage of the economic market, because Bitcoin serves as a store of value. It doesn't serve as like a transaction medium, and they say it will one day, but I mean, if everyone's using Ethereum as a transaction medium, as the currency medium, then, they're not using Bitcoin. So the economic capability of what you can do on Ethereum, in terms of money and transactions and store value is, far superior than what you can do with Bitcoin. That's just a fact. And, but, Bitcoin as a blockchain is still going to exist in the future, and people are still going to hold it, and there will be less of it. But forget the Bitcoin. That I'm more interested in what people are going to be building in the next 36 months. And how many of those applications that people are building on, how many of those are going to be using EMV technology, right? Ethereum virtual machine, or like Ethereum or ENS names. I mean, not all of it. Like some people use Polygon, but
I just I wouldn't mind just pausing for a second and going to that 22 years. Is that coming from, what is it? We have monetary cycles of 80 years. So the world currency, 80-year cycles. Is it 40-year cycles for economies? Is it 40-year cycle? Is it I think 12-year cycles for property? Where's 22 coming from? Like, is that
maybe he's adding, maybe he's I don't know, like I was wondering that in my head, and my first guess is that he's thinking about 30 years. And so basically he's thinking 7-8 years ago was 2015. 2015 was like, right before the Bitcoin halving before last, right? 2016. So maybe he's counting that, because like basically Uniswap was 2017. There's all the ICOs in 2017. 2016 is right before the Bitcoin halving. There's a lot of exchanges being built, and there's a lot of Ethereum development. So he could just be saying, 30 years from 2015. That's my guess. And he's calling that like a 30-year period. I mean, that's logical to me. Or maybe he turns a certain age. Maybe he turns 50 or something to that effect. Or
hey, Gary, can I jump in?
Yeah, jump.
Want to say hello. First off, what up, guys? Novax here. Just often bouncing between my laptop and mobile and everything. So I'm settled in and happy to be here with you guys. And I wanted to comment on this aspect of like financial market cycles and stuff, because 184 has a cool perspective on it. And I hadn't we got into this a little bit yesterday about like market capitalization. If you guys recall, we were talking a little bit about market cap. And I think that this is another thing to consider here, like with regard to trends in the market, not so much with cycles, obviously, but just the relationship between different cryptos and their relative market caps. Because we often think like, oh, could Bitcoin go to zero, or could ETH go to zero, or will Bitcoin go to 100,000 and whatever, right? So don't neglect the obvious consideration that applies to our market psychology dynamics, in which the differential between these things creates opportunity for arbitrage. And so the larger opportunity absorbs, a lot of that, a lot of the otherwise catastrophic moves, because people say, oh, well, Bitcoin's so cheap relative to Ethereum now. So the ETH BTC chart changed in such a way that'll be important to accommodate. So anyway, just back to you guys.
Waiting to see if 184 was going to have something to that effect. Yeah. So what does that bring us here? Obviously the article talks a lot about Gary V, properties, Gary V tokens. Here's another number, 25 years. So up here, he says when all the dust settles in 22 years, you're going to forget about a lot of names. And he calls out, Bored Apes and World of Women. But then over here, he says in 25 years, V predicted there will be just as many meaningful intellectual properties that had their origins in the Web3 era. There'll be just as many meaningful. Right. So he's looking 25 years into the future.
So I found an article, and I'm just Googling random things here, but I found an article called "The 40-Year Cycle of Cultural Change," and this sounds like a job for I think it's Mafiko, who's the resident intellectual academic. But so hint if you're listening. 40-year cycle of cultural change. So this, maybe it comes from that, which is we see these shifts from, there are a couple of examples, the end of the revolution, I assume that's the US one, civil war, global war and depression, and 2021. So perhaps this ties into some sort of cycle of cultural change that would obviously fit around economic cycles as well. That's my stab. I hope that leads to something.
I'll comment on it because I like bouncing this idea back and forth with you a bit. So I'm like not a believer necessarily in the timing. Like what we're trying to do is to predict in a way. We're like looking for historical trends in order to like have better understanding what's happening around us right now. And I think sometimes historical trends help us understand how right now is different. And there are some very realistic and observable phenomena that happen in decade cycles, like when all the dads go off to war and then they come home and you have the baby boomer generation, et cetera. And so that affects the economy. I remember my boss back in the day, one of my mentors, my great mentors, told me, he said, look at the baby boomers now. Look at this bubble, right, moving through time. When they were born, there was a boom in the toy industry. In the middle of their life, there's a boom in automobiles and housing. And at the end of their life, he said there will be a boom in graves and mortuary services. And I thought, good Lord, this guy's such a cutthroat kind of entrepreneur that he just sees it that way, you know, and he's selling insurance and variable annuities and having an understanding of some of the actuarial data and everything. And so anyway, my perception on this is like, yeah, we gotta be aware of kind of where we're at and what the future might bring. And I think we should, instead of looking to deep past, which is helpful, but for more specific information, we should look at like 2008. We should, like, when I was in the industry at that time, God, it was such a disruption. We had a building across the street from us in Santa Barbara going up. Boom, they stopped. They stopped for years. It sat there dormant. And so the whole industry dried up. There's nothing being built. And 2008 really is a benchmark. If you're talking about cycles and where are we now or where are we going, I would really like put a pin on that as a starting place or an ending place.
2008. Yeah. The last economic crash and creation of Bitcoin, 40 years from 2008 would be, yeah, like right in that area. It's possible. And yeah, I mean, it's just, it's interesting when you think about those large times and time cycles. And someone said something I thought was really, really, you know, meaningful. They were talking about how change happens over generations. And like what we're building is just a piece of what's to be built. And the last like sort of call out in this article that I want to sort of go over. Oh, I lose it. Let me see. Try to make it bigger. Let's see here. So the last call out that I want to like go over that he's really putting out there is that he talks about how you're going to create demand when the market softens. So we have a lot of builders in this room, you know, all builders in this room. And we know we're in a bear market. You know, we have NFT projects and ENS brokering and, you know, ENS media and all sorts of stuff. How are we going to create demand when the market softens? And sort of goes into VFriends. And he talks, I don't want to go over every single detail, but he talks about intellectual property with VFriends, IP. And everyone here is creating intellectual property, right? ENS updates and NFT projects and just like everything. And so he's looking, you know, and people are asking these questions all the time to me. They were just asking me today, like how are these licenses going to work? And he's comparing his NFT VFriend empire to Marvel Comics, creating mammoth IP power, and also recognizing that the key is that it takes a lot of care and it takes a lot of time to mature and expand and to grow the value of your intellectual property. And yeah, does anyone have any comments about that? About just building IP in general? And because it's a lot of things, it's something that builders don't think about. You know, like an artist doesn't think about their art as intellectual property, or a podcaster doesn't think about their podcast as intellectual property. And, you know, Gary Vee is just a leader in the Web3 space who's being really deliberate and is like essentially telling us his game plan.
Dude,
yeah.
Tokenization, man. It's like, imagine Kev's out here making these episodes, right? And he's got the audio labs like I do, where it goes boom, like Twitter Space to YouTube. Now imagine if Kev has audio labs, Twitter Space to OpenSea. Now imagine if you can mint the intellectual property of your podcast episode in a way where, hey, everyone wants to own one, right? And you want to listen back to it? You want the replay? Sorry, homie. You got to have the token, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity And you don't want to be extractive with it. You really do want people to have the updates and other things like that. So it's not really about an abusive thing, but I think that, we realize that, you have to be a realist about the economic impact of spending your time, 5 days a week plus nurturing a show and building a community. I mean, it's a lot of time, and you need a roof over your head, and you got to pay your electricity. So I think that just having some stability for those builders is almost like the most essential and critical component, just to give them foundational stability to where they're like, I can pay the rent. I'm not stressing out about my necessities. And that's actually in different part of the world, the living standard is a little different, but even in the most expensive place, it's really not that crazy. Right. And so I think about this whole conversation, Gary, in terms of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And here we are at the pinnacle of everything in the creator's economy, not needing to scramble and scrap for food. Like, that's who's here, bro. That's the selection bias for who's here, is people who have the unique circumstance of being able to be an artist, which means that somehow they've escaped the mire of necessity in order to have some extra time. And so it's kind of cool that in this time in our society, we have so many people and such enthusiasm around the creator economy that now we have the industrial revolutions, and now we'll have the creators revolution. So I think tokenizing content, is an important part of that.
I like that a lot, bro. I think you killed that. And how did you word that at the end? You said the creator revolution?
The creator economy, bro. Absolutely.
Yeah, bro. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's the thing.
Yeah, ENS Updates is a huge inspiration to me, and Kev for King 5159, you're a huge inspiration to me. Seeing your initiative and coming into the space, and I hope it's okay to say, we don't get in a couple sponsors and getting a couple dollars in the door. That's got to help offset, like a Web 2 world, doing something cool in Web 3, and there's nothing that limits you from getting another like additional opportunity in Web 3. And oh yeah, you did, right, with ZZC. And so not only are you working with a leader in the space that you got because of your own initiative, doing your own thing, you kind of own your own content. And you're creating your own content, and you're creating your own IP too, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like to see it.
I think it's very interesting, this whole Web3 space, when we look at owning your IP, owning your content, and how that will mature over time, over the course for brands and individuals over the course of the next 25 years, like Gary Vee said, right? So what I mean by that is, I know ENS NFTverse, for example, loves to do giveaway free NFTs for the Friday Night Happy Hour, right? That is IP related to a brand. Now, what happens when he blows up, or he becomes a mega figure in the space, or he becomes, quote unquote, the next Gary Vee or something? And people had a piece of that intellectual property from 25 years ago, right? That they were able to collect, and it's verified on the blockchain, and they were early believers and early adopters. That's kind of how I look at it. Is like kind of imagine being able to own a stock of Gary Vee when he created his first wine library video, or being involved in that and being able to show the world that I was that early. But now kind of having that social proof of it within your wallet, right? I think wallets are kind of going to be bigger than social media, not even in the sense of cashing it out for a payday, but more so just social status, social recognition, social proof that in my wallet, I was this early. I basically experienced all these monumental events that led us to where we are today. Is kind of how I'm looking at it. I don't think I think about it enough with my own personal brands, but listening to you guys talk is kind of have the light bulbs in my head kind of spinning right now.
Yo, Gary, Kev, I want to jump in and tell you, man, you get me thinking about longevity. We were talking earlier, and I extended out. I spent about, 0.6. Like, I spent like the better part of an ETH
on extending my registrations out today, and I had to be real strategic about it, bro. And part of that was thinking to myself, what's the timeline of this game? You know, what's it gonna look like before? Like, I thought I could extend out alien pride flag emoji.eth for a year for 0.1, or I could buy a dope domain for that price. And I was like, I'm so conflicted. I love alien pride flag emoji. It's extraordinary.
Cash flow is king.
Exactly. Nobody's going to buy it for a while. It's going to take a while for those markets to mature. And cash flow is king.
We got to protect all the word emojis. We have to, by all means.
Extend them for 1,000 years. Every word emoji is worth registering for that. Thread Girl says she's about 100 ETH, and that's her evaluation. Mine is on time. I value based on registration date, and I say that's a 100-year registration.
Yeah, those registration fees, man, they're a pain. I had to kind of allocate my wallets, like pick what I really like, and I'm willing to extend for a while, extend them, and hold them. And then my problem with these dang digits is I keep flipping them and to get better digits. And I'll buy a digit and extend it a year.
Problem? What,
and then I end up flipping it.
5912, and you got a problem? I see no problem.
It's no 5159 and it's no 2223, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah, well, real quick before we go to the next story. Yeah, you guys got me thinking now. I'm thinking about some of these clubs, and you know, if somebody say there's 1,000 of something in a club, and there's not enough people to buy it all, but somebody has it, you could extend the names in someone else's wallet, right, of a collection. And by extending them in someone else's wallet, which is a dead wallet, right? You're just preventing more of them from hitting the floor. It's
I'm gonna thank you right now, Gary. Gary registered 100K cat.eth for 10 years. Gary came in. I told him it's about to expire. I could only snag it for a little bit. Gary came in and registered it for 10 years. I know very few people who do what he's saying, who actually register other people, extend other people's registrations. Are you kidding me?
That's not what I was talking about. What I was doing was something kind of nice. I was talking about a manipulative way of decreasing the supply and making you control more of the market.
Well, somebody just had 8 p.m. My homie is a great friend. He's a nice guy. And he was he has all these single digit integers with PM following them with their three character registrations. And been trying to build this club. Some of them are 4 character or whatever, because they're 12 p.m. or whatever. And I was like, I mean, what's the enthusiasm like? Because it's the 999 club, yeah, but everything else, nah.
Yeah, and so that's a good point. And then we'll move on to the next story, unless someone has something super burning. But this is exactly what Gary Vee was just saying. And he, in his head, he's probably thinking about some websites and some protocols. Mainly, he's thinking about PFP projects. He's thinking in 22 years, we're going to look back, and a lot of these names we're not even going to really remember. They're going to be strange, obscure artifacts of embarrassment. The same thing, not that one necessarily, but the same thing with some of these ENS names. It's always going to be on a blockchain. Someone registered it back in 2021. But yeah, some of these ENS names are going to be super obscure too. And then in 30 years, what's going to happen in 30 years? Some new kid that was just born, right? 12 years earlier, they're going to be oh yeah, there was this ancient name that some person bought back in 2021, right? Because it's going to be, imagine looking back at the blockchain 30 years into the future. I mean, it's just kind of mind-blowing for me. Imagine if MySpace was on the blockchain. Is this hitting you guys? Imagine if everything you did on MySpace was on a blockchain still. Maybe
I'd have to make a new wallet.
I'd be so grateful, bro. I had some great stuff on MySpace. Actually, I was reaching a philosophical pinnacle of my life during the MySpace era, and I've lost I tried to find it. I can't find it for the life of me. There's probably some treasure. If it was on the blockchain, although I'm sure many of us say, good Lord, I'm so glad it's dead and gone. Let's talk to Tom. What does Tom think? Good old Tom.
Tom's
Somebody
out
said
there.
Tom treated us good. He would have never done us like Zuck, and we ran off from MySpace to Facebook, and we're mistreated by Zuckerberg. Tom wouldn't have done us like that.
Yeah, Tom knew when to walk away. He knew when to hold them. He knew when to fold them. And you know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. It's because Tom was everybody's friend.
That's
Tom was
Zuck
my
isn't everybody's friend. Good point.
Tom was your friend. And, you know, Tom didn't have to deal with a lot of shit that we have to deal with today. And I'm going to try swearing less on a live show. But today we have to deal with a lot more. And if Tom started MySpace today, there'd be a lot more that he had to deal with. And this next piece of news.
This is something that the other day in the other show, I know I said something about my ledger messing up. And then this news came out and I was thinking about you guys. I said, I'm so glad I said something because Apple's acting funny, man.
This is crazy talk. What happened?
Oh my goodness. I was like, we talked about a little bit of Coinbase wallet on the show the other day. One of the shows, I'm sure it's in the title, and, you know, Thread Girl was here and you were here and 184 was here. And we were talking about Coinbase wallet removing some ghost chain coins like Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, Stellar, Ripple. They removed support from them.
Don't call Ripple a ghost chain, okay? Ripple Army for life.
Yeah, I think it's called XRP Army, but yeah, get them in here. Tell them I talk shit about XRP. Get them in here. So Coinbase wallet stopped supporting those, and I'm just saying, hey, listen, they're developers, they're engineers, they don't have all the time and the money in the world. They want to support the winning product, which is Ethereum, you know. And they got to focus their wallets on the where there is the demand, and they added them because there was demand, and the demand went away, and the time and attention goes to where it's at, and they can choose not to support those. And Thread Girl was just saying, well, that screws people over, and if they do that with this stuff, then how does it say they're not going to do that with other stuff? And so, I want to preface this. What's that?
Thread Girl had a pretty hardline stance on this, and I didn't entirely agree with her.
Well, this is going to support her case. We're gonna get to it. This is going to support her case. And I just want to preface this by saying I am a fan of Coinbase, the centralized company Coinbase. They're doing a lot of cool things. Coinbase is doing a lot of great building. Coinbase is developing on top of Ethereum, on top of EMV. Coinbase is developing on top of ENS. Both ICANN ENS, and I hear they're going to be doing some cool .eth ENS, and they do own, their own .eth stuff. Coinbase is doing just great work working across the system with Ethereum and ENS and lots of cool DeFi things. And in all honesty, Coinbase and Binance, they are well aware that DeFi is probably going to put them out of business. So it's in their best interest to build the future because they need to disrupt themselves, because otherwise Coinbase is just going to be a VHS tape. Coinbase realizes DeFi, that's like the Netflix of the future, right? So this
VHS is treasure, by the way, Gary, just so everyone knows, VHS is treasure. So if Coinbase becomes a treasure like VHS, it'll be a good thing. Yeah,
a treasure that no one uses.
So I just want to pile on the fangirling of Coinbase and say that also Coinbase is led by an OG that's been consistent since the very beginning, which is a pretty powerful thing. And we're seeing that with a lot of things that are crashing in this last year. So OGs that have been consistent are pretty good.
And I personally lost a lot of money on the Coinbase, the Coin IPO. And so I just want to say, and then I liquidated because I was done. And I just want to say to Coinbase, thank you with a question mark. That's it.
Listen, man, that's partly, like, I don't want to get into that, but that's partly on you, because every single ICO or not ICO, every single ICO or IPO, it doesn't matter if it's an ICO or an IPO, every single one fails. All of them fail. They all start up high. And
everyone I've invested in has failed, so I could say that.
Yeah, you're not special. Everybody's has failed. Like, some people make money because they bought the right time and they sold at the right time. They got a good price. They sold a good, but all these things. So that's not coin. Long term, Coinbase coin is probably gonna do good in terms of like Web2 companies because they're a Web2 company building on blockchain. And they're not a Web2 company. You know, they're not like a fake Web2 company like Unstoppable. They're like a real Web2 company building on real blockchain, leveraging Web3 technology. And they're probably going to disrupt themselves because that's what I'm seeing from the leadership. But nevertheless, the Coinbase wallet, they're doing something funky, not because they want to, but because they have to. And so, you know, this just points out to Threadgirl's point that, you know, while Coinbase has good intentions, Apple and the App Store and Coinbase are all centralized companies that are subject to having to deal with each other. And so what's happened here, and I couldn't even believe this, guys. You aren't going to believe this. If you don't know what's happening, you're not going to believe this. Apple has blocked the Coinbase Wallet app in the iOS App Store.
No, I don't believe you.
We're going to get into the thread. I got the thread up here from Coinbase. But the Apple and a company blocks Coinbase Wallet app. Why?
184.
Well, you're saying. I know you're going to say. No, you're going to say Novak. You're going to say. Listen, if it just don't allow sales, just let people transfer NFTs for free, right? Wallet to wallet. There's no transaction, right? That should be okay. We're not doing sales in our Coinbase wallet. We're just allowing users to transfer. But that's not what Apple's saying. When the Ethereum miners, when the Ethereum stakers get a transaction fee for the transaction gas to go through, Apple literally wants 30% of the Ethereum gas transaction
Trash.
If it's a zero, if it's just a transfer, I'm giving you a gift. I'm transferring it from my wallet to my other. I'm not even giving it away. I'm just transferring it from my cold wallet to my hot wallet. They want 30% of the gas fee. And because Coinbase Wallet app couldn't give it to them, Coinbase Wallet had to remove that feature, or they had to remove their app from the store. One of the two. Neither.
Do they want the gas from the miners or the gas from the from the exchange, or do they want the amount of gas and it doesn't matter where it comes
the exchange doesn't get any gas. The gas is just for the miners or the stakers.
Exactly. So are they asking?
Oops.
I think it shows my opinion on this. I don't know if I think it shows a lack of research and understanding from Apple's end on the blockchain.
They're clueless, bro.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah,
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing on Apple's end, right? It's embarrassing because you're this mega company and you're clueless at this point, right? And I think that it's something that we have to protest against. The builders of Web3 today, the builders who see this future, we can't allow Apple, in my personal opinion, to get away with this bullshit. Right? There's no way Web3 is going to get to where it wants to get to if Apple owns all the real estate and basically saying, hey, you got to pay us gas fees off of gas fees that transacts through the actual network, and Coinbase isn't receiving. So I just felt embarrassed for Apple on Apple's behalf, in my opinion.
What if they do this with MetaMask next? I mean,
they're going
to do it with everybody, guys. They're going to do it with everybody.
They're going to.
But breaking news. Yeah, we've got an update here. Did you know that Apple's request is impossible? Yeah,
literally. It's on the network. It's literally impossible.
It's ridiculous.
There's no way, because it's a transaction fee. It's not like
we want the gas from your gas tank to drive from A to B so that we can just get fat. So could you just please give us your gas that you require to move positions in order for us to stay stationary?
It was a completely terrible move, and I was telling you guys my story on why I had to buy a new computer the other day, and I'll make it fast, but I literally had a bid on a name that was on my ledger. And sometimes I'll use my Bluetooth with my Nano X, and I'll use my phone because it's just a little bit faster. My computer was messed up at the time, and I've never had troubles doing this. I'll transfer the NFT from my ledger to my hot wallet, and I'll accept the bid because I don't interact with things off my ledger. And on Apple products, well, I mean, I'm still able to do it on desktop, but I'm waiting to see a problem there. As far as my mobile, I was unable to transfer NFTs using my iPhone. Like, that was a message that popped up. I never got it before, so I couldn't send the NFT to my other wallet to accept it. And I'm like, they are really shutting it down. And then a few days later, here comes the Coinbase news. And if you go to the Ledger site now, because I just bought a few more ledgers, if you go to the Ledger site now, it no longer shows, like, they put an X on the iOS support. So iOS is no longer supported with Ledger, which to me is just insane.
Agreed. I'm so glad that you had that experience, you of all people, because you were able to relay it to us here. And to me, it's like significant. I mean, it's very significant. So Gary, I mean, we have a mess with mobile, and we really have to solve it. And I'm sorry to say this, if it's upsetting the biggest damn apple cart in the world, the literal apple cart, we need a decentralized phone standard immediately.
I wouldn't be surprised if Apple comes out, because everything is chess, right? In my opinion, especially when you're managing in most billions of dollars at that level. I would not be surprised if Apple announces their own wallet, right? And they kind of just completely, monopolize that market in a sense, their own Web3 crypto wallet. That would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
What is Sean saying here? I'm not sure what this means or if I agree with it, but he says, what if Apple removes all the crypto wallets from its app store, and then Twitter, all the crypto apps, and then Twitter, because all the crypto apps are doing this. So every crypto app needs to be removed. It's not just that. It's not just Coinbase. Coinbase is just a low-hanging fruit. But he's saying, what if Apple removes all the crypto wallets from its app store, and then Twitter introduces its own crypto payments tool,
which it is,
in such a way that plays ball with Apple.
Well,
and then so then he's saying, so Sean is saying that the Twitter, so the Twitter would have the crypto payments tool, and then that would work with Apple. I'm a little confused what's going on.
So
maybe it's not good.
My quick thoughts on this is that Tim Cook and Apple pretty much unfollowed Twitter and deleted tweets and all that other bullshit. And then Tim Cook recently followed Elon Musk, and I guess they had a meeting or exchange of DMs or of that nature. And I think he's trying to say there is, what if Elon is talking to him behind the scenes to make it work, to basically talk some sense into him that it doesn't make no sense. The 30% tax they're trying to monopolize over the internet.
Yeah, well, the part of what was happening with Elon and Tim Cook is that Elon is making Tim Cook pay $8 for Twitter, and Tim Cook is making all of Elon's customers pay, or to make Elon pay, right? To make Elon lose 30%. And then also there's threats or threats. Yeah, definitely, directly Twitter was risking being taken out of the App Store. Imagine Twitter being the apps, basically, that's what happened. It's the App Store told Coinbase, we're going to kick you out of the App Store. And they did until you remove this gas thing for the NFTs. And Elon was being told that the Twitter was going to be taken out of the App Store, and they wouldn't tell him exactly why. And so Elon went and talked with Tim Cook, and I don't think Elon is worried about Twitter being taken out of the App Store. And so then how are you fitting that in with the wallets?
Well, Elon also was very vivid about, the 30% tax that Twitter had to pretty much pay as well. But Elon announced that Twitter crypto wallets or wallets in general are coming to Twitter. So I'm not sure if that's what Sean is trying to get at, but I wouldn't be surprised. Sean is just I think it's a speculation tweet, but if he is trying to get at that, I think he's saying Elon and Tim had a conversation about it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If Elon, let me I will look at Sean's tweet and I don't know if Sean's tweet is a good example of what we're saying here, but if it's not an if. So when Twitter introduces a payments wallet, or when Twitter introduces a crypto app, is Apple going to want 30% of all of those transactions or all of those gas fees?
Yes.
That's crazy.
They haven't showed otherwise in what I've seen.
So coming in with not a different angle, but a question I have. So Revolut app, there's a lot of banking apps, a lot of digital only banks where you can purchase crypto, and Revolut is one of them. So it begs the question, how do they get away with it? Is there a different rule for banking apps, banking licenses, that there are for social media apps and the like? Anyone know about that?
Well, I mean, think about it. Like Rainbow Wallet. What about Rainbow Wallet? I mean, Rainbow Wallet you can get on the iOS App Store.
I'm getting nervous.
Like literally, I don't got to do this, right? Like literally every wallet is available in the App Store. Every wallet, you can go to the App Store and get it, and pretty much every single wallet, you can transfer NFTs. I mean, you could mint your own ENS name on the Rainbow Wallet.
Gary,
So when you mint an ENS name on the Rainbow Wallet, iOS is going to want 30% of that transaction fee plus 30% of the ENS DAO fee.
And they're not going to get it.
They just paid $5 to the DAO. The iOS app is going to want 30% of that. That's happening. I don't know if we should be saying this out loud on the public show, but Rainbow Wallet is not paying 30% to the iOS store for that transaction.
They're going to try to block it all, man.
Crazy. I mean, this is like extrapolated. This is a big deal.
We got 3 minutes on the hour, and I want to get in here one word before we wrap up the topic to say the walled garden of the App Store, quote unquote, the App Store, if that's the Apple App Store or the Android, or if it's Windows has an App Store now, and that's actually very threatening in some way. So the App Store itself, but it also serves a very valuable function, doesn't it? App Store means credibility. App Store means I'm going to download this app. I'm not going to get scammed. It's been vetted. So we need our own App Store. We don't need our own vetting. And I think that's an important place to kind of that's a need. And I like to close our conversations with the need so that we can try and have some forward progress with it. But that's what I think. We need our own App Store, and it needs to be a meta App Store that's it applies to all these systems, but it's independent of them.
No, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, anything centralized is going to be subject to these same sort of issues and attacks, and anything that's decentralized will be at risk of spam and gamification, manipulation. And so, there's definitely a lot of work to do, because, and Kev, to the App Store thing with Apple, people, and I think Elon Musk was even teasing about a Tesla phone. So
bring it on.
Yeah, I know. So and in the decentralized space, a lot of people have talked about, are we going to have or when are we going to have a decentralized browser? When are we going to have a decentralized phone system or communications network? Or like a peer-to-peer mesh network communication.
We've got Global Chat. If you're hip to Heaven's Tools by Dylan, he created a peer-to-peer messaging system as one of the tools there, so that you don't have to use centralized services, but that's just a soft little chime in.
Yeah, maybe we can go over that in ENS Tuesdays, or maybe Token Thursdays, and we can get into a deep dive and into that. I would love that. What was that 184?
No, I was asking Guyman, what is that peer-to-peer thing called?
So, he has his NFT called Heaven's Tools, and he has a few different tools that he's airdropped to people for all different things. And that's one is decentralized website builder. One is a decentralized logo creator. If you want to make your own logo and you don't want to like use like normal things, you can do it all from things that he's built. And then he also included a peer-to-peer messaging system, which is called Global Chat, but it's all comes with his NFT, and it's you can hop on there, type in somebody's name if they also have an account, and then you can message them directly, and it's just a private one-on-one chat that's run on a whole different it's on chain.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
Just showcasing another one in that same kind of vein. We've got a recent winner of the ENS small grants, was called DM3, and their pitch is decentralized messaging for Web3. And because that's coming out of .eth, I think their focus is wallet addresses and .eth usernames. So we've definitely got a lot of people building in this space.
Which is what we need. I know that we're jumping to the next topic, but that's exactly what we need. And now maybe Elon comes to the rescue and makes some type of, maybe the Tesla phone is all that we need. Because I think that this is that whole segment that we just went over. It is like it could really be detrimental to Apple. I know that they're a great product, but one wrong move when we're moving towards a certain direction, and it's going to turn a lot of people off. I'll tell you what, if they do something with the desktop, or they make it to where I can't do what I'm doing, I will not use them. I'm not going to be backed into a corner. I'll find a way to not use them, and I won't come back.
I'm ready to jump ship on Apple over this. I mean, I've been a big fanboy, and I've had a lot of Apple devices, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes you just go like, no, and no more. This is what we're trying to fight against. This is
the thing about it is, in my opinion as well, like it's a lot harder said than done, right? I think Apple, I don't know if you guys ever watched that commercial from Apple back in the 80s where they pretty much have brain control over everybody who uses their platform and devices. And it's almost human nature. It's almost habit. It's almost a way of being, is that you have an Apple device, almost like we're cyborgs infused with these Apple devices, right? So it's just not as easy as saying, hey, we're going to jump ship, right?
You heard the news about the Neuralink today. Speaking of that,
yes, that was crazy. But if somebody is going to make
I missed that one.
So I'll touch right around to
that next. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it has to be a really big brand or a really big person to make a jump ship, like Elon Musk saying, hey, this is a Twitter phone or a Tesla phone. It has to be that big of a scale. But Neuralink, Elon Musk announced that Neuralink will be primed for human experimentation over the course within 6 months. If you don't know what Neuralink is, it's pretty much like a little chip they put in your brain. It's based. There's so many different use cases for it, but one of the use cases that they demoed or they talked about was a person who was born blind, for example. That person will be able to see again with Neuralink. Somebody who has schizophrenia, they will rewire the brains or rewire the cells in their brains, and they'll be able to. It'll heal a lot of mental diseases. People who can't walk will be able to walk. You'll be able to think faster. It's all types of crazy shit. I haven't done enough research to fully go into depth about it, but if it is true what he's saying, I think humanity will be changed forever if that thing ever scales to any level.
Well, 100%. Yeah, I was aware of the Neuralink stuff because I was kind of big on like what Elon was doing, over the past year or two. Not as to the extent of being a fanboy, like how some people go a little bit too crazy, but I do love him, and I do think that we're getting to live in the time of this is our Einstein, and I could be overly doing it, and I think some people might get offended by that, but like there's only so often you get these people that are really going to change a whole lot of things to where 100 years from now they're going to look back and be like, that's a name that was huge and did a lot. I was hip to the Neuralink. I've seen the videos of like a chimp playing Pong all off just thinking about it and stuff, and that's just a very small degree of how deep that Neuralink stuff goes. The 6-month news for the testing was what I missed, and that's pretty extreme. I feel bad about this one, but I do have another thing I got to jump to really quick, so I wanted to pop in here, and that little 45 minutes kind of flew by for me. I want to say what's up to Kev, and it was nice having you on the show, bro. I'd like to see you here more often. I need to start showing up here more often. I won't take too much time. 184, much love, bro. Novax, Gary, I will see you guys on Twitter. I do got a jet just really fast, and I apologize.
No,
Yeah, no worries. You'll have the after show link in case you want to pop in later.
Most definitely, bro. I'll try to get in there.
Sorry, Glue Man. Just 5 things. Just 5 things I got to run through with you.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Hey, last time you guys know I was in here, I said I gotta go, and I stayed another hour and a half.
Get out. This is like power off right now.
Yeah, I gotta get better in my
dropping
exit.
ENS Maxi Alpha in the members only show. So
I know. By the way, Kev, you done a great job with the project, bro, and you did great. The breadcrumbs were fun to follow, and you did great with that project.
Oh, you're trying to put Kev as a creator now? Kev's the ENS Maxi's creator now?
You guys have a great night.
Wayman admitted that it's him. So
Hey, that is hilarious. I'm the creator of ENS Max, y'all.
everybody's the creator. It's like like
me
V for
too.
Vendetta. It's like all of us are.
184 did it. Gary's a real creator. We all know Gary's a real one. Turning the screws behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, none of that.
My thing, real quick, one last thing. My fear with Neuralink though is if it's centralized. If we all have these things in our brain, who's controlling it? Is there a centralized database that could control it and almost turn us off or rewire our thoughts or give us? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm most afraid of.
I'm not taking the fucking Neuralink. Excuse my language, YouTube. What I meant to say was, there's no way in hell I am adopting the transhumanist future, even though it's exciting and interesting. Not for me.
We're 10 minutes. We're 10 minutes from the after show. 10 minutes.
All right, I will go full in depth. Actually, I'll tell a story in the after show. Gary, let me pitch the after show. My brother and I, who has the means and the resources and the connections to actually take this shit very seriously. Like, my brother's like, I will merge with the AI. Like, me, I'm like, nah. But I will tell you the story of our conversation in which we spoke about.
I think
what's it called, Kev? When the singularity. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I would say though as well to Novak. I know you said you absolutely would not take it. I think it's one of those, in my opinion, everybody's going to have it if you want to evolve, right? It's like almost like saying, hey, I don't want to have an iPhone in today's society. Well, how can you keep up with commerce, with meetings, with day-to-day life and activities? You're almost like a caveman if you don't have a smartphone in today's society, and you're just going to get outpaced. I feel the same exact way when people are communicating, transacting, smarter, faster, whatever, thinking quicker with this Neuralink. It's almost like it's going to be everybody needs to have it if you want to continue to evolve into the next generation. It's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Are you guys seeing like and we're going to talk about this more in the member show, but just to tease the member show, there's this Neuralink. There's Kev's point that without the Neuralink, you're going to be like a kid with no internet. You know, it's like you got to do a paper for school. You're not going to have internet. That's going to suck for you. So one kid's going to have the Neuralink. You're not. You know, you're going to be 25, 35, 45 working next to somebody. You know, you're going to be 25 working next to a 45-year-old. The 45-year-old has a Neuralink, and you know they got the computer in the brain. That's that. Where's it going with that?
Well, we're ready to wind down. So as we wind down, maybe we should just give our take on whether.
I just wanted to say the new GPT AI language simulator. Have you been seeing all these tests online? So maybe we'll talk about that in the after show. But it's the AI content generator there's already these AIs around us that can do so much that the Neuralink is gonna. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm for it, and I'm really worried about it. And you should go check out, put a movie on your list. It's the Johnny Depp?
Transcendence.
Transcendence.
Great.
Yeah, check out Transcendence. But yeah, we're gonna talk about this and a whole lot more. Maybe we're gonna bring up some topics of consciousness too. Talk about what is consciousness in relationship to the Neuralink, and what is consciousness in relationship to the metaverse. And we're going to hear some cool stories in addition to that. In addition to that heavy hitter, we're going to hear some stories from Novak's about similar topics. And Kev, do you have a little extra time to join us in the after show too?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for showing up, everybody, to Minting Coins in the show today on this fine December 1st. 2022. Nights are getting longer. I can't wait till the solstice when we can start getting some longer days back. But we're going to be jumping into the after show. It's going to be the members only after show for the members at mintingcoins.com. So go to mintingcoins.com, become a member, get access to exclusive members only content, members only videos, members only forum, be part of the community. And for 50 cents a day, you could help support us supporting Web3. And so, because we want to be beholden to our members, not to sponsors, primarily. And so that's why we're focusing on building a members first platform, a members first community, because we don't want to rely on advertising. We don't want to rely on, like a single entity to be able to shut us off. We want to be able to decentralize, the advertising amongst the viewers. So the viewers are the only people who we are accountable. So go to mintingcoins.com, become a member. We're going to jump into members show now, probably, 15 minutes after this show ends in a couple of minutes here. 184. Where can people find you, and what do you got to say to close it out?
See you in the after show, and if you understand .eth, you know where to find me.
Yeah, Novak's.
There it is. I was struggling for the mute button. Hey, thank you very much, guys, for the chat and the conversation. It's always really stimulating to have more meta, macro strategy and market conversation. It's really cool to have you here, Kev. That way, there you are. Thank you for being here. And you guys could find me, same thing as 184 said, just find me the .eth, hit me up on Twitter at in0vax right there. It's actually right there, NFT. So thank you, Gary, again for another excellent show. I'm excited to chop up some little spicy clips from the past week, and that you guys can expect those on the YouTube coming shortly.
Molto bene.
Yep. Awesome, man. I think this was good. I look forward to being on more shows for sure. You guys could find me at 5159kefferking.eth. Every Monday through Friday, we do ENS updates morning show where we talk about all things Web3 with a focus on the topic of ENS. And you can find me on Twitter.
Very cool. Yeah, and I'm Gary Palmer Jr.eth. Become a member at Minting Coins. And oh yeah. Before we go, geez. All right, listen, seriously, this is just really quick. But we're still here. Before we go, last thing, and we swear. But check out Web3 Domains and our latest article from Sash, Rebuilding Trust with Web3 Journalism. This is a great piece. I think a really important piece. Talking about what does it mean to have journalism with Ethereum, with blockchain technology, with smart contracts, with ENS names, with immutable content. And then there's other really cool content as well, such as brands racing to secure their ENS names by the cryptoreporter.eth, and some recent news with some development off of the ENS referral protocol, which is actually something that I started talking about in the ENS DAO forums. And then there was a company, a project, a startup that's actually done some work on the ENS referral protocol idea. And so if you go to web3domains.com, you can go check out this great article by Method that talks about that team and the background about the ENS referral system and where they're at with it and what they need to move that forward. So all sorts of interesting stuff to help you in your way with that. But with that being said, we're going to be jumping into the after show here. I'll probably post the link on the Minting Coins Twitter, but it'll be the latest video there in the members section. But we are learning information. We are processing information, and then we are taking action and executing, and that's what it means to be minting. And I'm glad that together we are minting